another drill that we're going to use here on the range. So we're at a public shooting range where the arcs are favorable in terms of utilizing a little bit of movement that will replicate something that we would see in an interior combat setting. So we're going to set up the range really simple. It doesn't take a lot of setup, just takes a little bit of thought to put into how you're going to set up the targets as well as what you're using for visual barriers. This particular drill is going to help us with footwork. So it's going to help us with integrating how to expose or when to expose as much of the firearm and the body before making entry through a makeshift target setup that we have here to replicate a threshold. And really what this drill is designed to do is help us with our footwork moving through a threshold and then actually be able to integrate some firearms training with some targets that are set up in a safe manner, respecting the range safety arcs that are in place by the range that you're shooting at. All right, so all the safety parameters are put into place, all the protocols are put into place. This is 100% safe. This is just a way to challenge the shooter, integrating some interior combat movement onto a static or limited movement shooting platform. So for this particular scenario, picture we're coming down a hallway, and then what these two target stands with the garbage bags over top represent is a threshold. So this is an open door. So coming towards the open door, say for example, if we have a stack, the way we attack this problem will be a little bit different. So let's just say we're coming down this direction, I'm the number one, and I come to this threshold. So the idea behind this setup is we know the targets are on the inside because I set them up, all right? There's no surprise there. But what it does is it allows us to kind of piece the pie, so to speak, as we enter through the threshold. There's a couple of targets that we can engage where we're still going to practice digging our corner. The design behind this is to help us with our footwork and then also with some shot placement. So the targets in the distance there's some white that represent no shoot, and then some tan cardboard targets which represent our shooting opportunities, okay? All right, so first opportunity, we come down, head is up, gun is up. We're going to start to recognize that there's an open door, only exposing what's necessary to take up as much of that room as we possibly can. As we start to enter inside the room, as we see something that needs our attention, manipulate the safety selector and then fire. As we continue to piece the pie, we're going to take up as much as we possibly can. As we see things, we'll engage as necessary, and then we'll make entry. As we make entry, a pre-position step, which is going to open up the hips. As we drive the gun into the corner, head is up, gun is up. We have a power step, which is a compressed spring. And then we enter, dig in the corner, and then again, you can follow through with a couple shot application. So it does a couple things with this drill. It basically creates synergy between a little bit of movement, but also some shot accuracy. All right. Now, yes, there's going to be lots of questions. Well, why would I take an open door like that? If I'm by myself, the reality is I may have opportunity to take this a little bit slower, or maybe with a little bit of speed if I'm by myself. One-man entry is not optimal. We've showed different stuff with a one-person opportunity in the past, and what you'll notice, the deduction from it is if you're by yourself, stay in motion. Movement is life. So we are a much harder target to hit if we're in motion. So I would not suggest for a second being stationary for more than a second or two. If this is a problem set that we're attacking with a team, then it's very different, because there are portions of that room that we can take responsibility for, and then we disseminate the work amongst the team. So this is a way to kind of skin this cat, where we put some rangism into the CQB or vice versa, depending on how you want to look at it. So from the opposite direction, I'm going to button hook on this one. So head is up, gun is up. Get to the threshold, only exposing what's necessary. Off shoulder switch. Don't see anything yet, don't see anything. As soon as I see it, we'll make engagement. Continuing to take as much of the door as we possibly can as soon as we see it. Then I'll right the gun, head up, gun up, pre-position step, take the corner, drive, open up. So some things to think about if this isn't in fact a door on an interior combat setting is what is the ballistic material, if we know that. For an example, you know, being on the outside, make an entry. Yes, we can send tech inside the room. Yes, we can send K9 inside the room. There's other things that we can execute before we even make an entry. But let's just say that's not in the equation. And what I'm considering is two factors. Is if this is a brick wall, that's going to give me a little bit of ballistic protection before making entry. So yes, I'm going to take my time from outside, eating up as much of the room as we possibly can, but I'm not hanging out here and having a sandwich. We do what we need to do on the outside with the consideration that if this is gyp rock, you know, some 2x2s, some 1x1s, 2x4s, etc., a little bit of gyp rock, from a ballistic protection perspective, there's less of it. So if this is a brick wall, I may take my time, a little bit more time, versus if this is gyp rock, for an example. So the ballistic material, you know, cover versus concealment is very, very different. The reason I say that is because if the shithead is on the inside and he's armed with an AK-47, he decides today is the day to just rip rounds through that. Is it a ballistic piece of protection and coverage that will give us some time? If not, then I'm not going to waste a lot of time on the outside. All right, so these are some considerations for sure. Whatever team that you're working with, as long as your SOPs, your standing operating procedures, are dialed in nice and tight, CQB is CQB. At which the speed that we execute the technique is really the only thing that is different. Once we start exercising a CQB scenario, and as it's unfolding, the ability of the operator or the assaulter to dial the throttle up and down when it makes sense is really the heat and light, because the principles and the concepts are the same. You know, back-to-back mutual support and back-to-back security, these are some of the things that we're trying to implement. Okay, so once again, with a little bit more speed,